Yes, hello and welcome once again to this week's edition of Without Bias. It is with thanks to the Bowl Show. Sundays on 7-2 from 2:30pm. You can stay engaged with the sport, and also for Apia, we're all about possibilities. Call 135050 Apia. Get set and go. Jack Heverin joined by Australian Jackaroo and a man who needs no introduction on this show, but he will certainly get one anyway, and that is Barrie Lester. Baz, good evening.
Yeah, g'day. How are you, Jack? Doing a great job down there, mate, and I wish I was always sitting next to you or alongside you, tearing up like we used to, but it's always good to be on the show, mate.
It is, and we'll have a chat to James Wilson a little bit later on, who's doing some fantastic work in South Australia with participation and programs. Last week when we caught up, it was Melbourne Cup Day, and there was a bit happening in the background at Burleigh Heads. How did the night end up? It was a really good day. We had, especially the guy we get in to do all the cocktails, so that's very, very popular. So on Cup Day, if you're probably not having a win like myself, maybe you got to turn to a cocktail to cheer you up. So that was pretty popular, and yeah, a really busy day. I think we almost got to maximum. We're allowed to have 120 inside the venue, and then quite a number of them chose to go outside and try a bit of barefoot. So are bowls clubs, for those who are listening outside of Queensland tonight, are they back to being the sort of central hub for social groups, and not just for bowlers, but for those looking for a good fun day or fun night again?
Without a doubt. We've had to change a few things here at Burleigh Heads. We conducted a SWOT analysis early in the year just to look at things we need to really focus on moving forward. And then when COVID hit, it probably worked out pretty well, because one of our weaknesses was that we didn't really have an outdoor space that was quite large for sitting and just socialising and having maybe something to eat or drink. And that's what a lot of people really do want to do now. And that's why Barefoot Bowls is such a winner. You can do it outdoor social environment, and if you choose to have a few drinks or something to eat while you're having a game, whether it be a Christmas party, you can do all those things. And right across Queensland, we're booked out between now and Christmas, and I know a lot of other clubs are as well, so very popular activity.
Without giving away, obviously, all of the trade secrets, but for clubs who maybe aren't as social within their community, Baz, what's a good way to get started? What's a starting point to at least let everyone around know that the Bowls Club is a good day or a good night?
I believe going to the people. You can't sit back and wait. You can't hope the phone rings or your website's doing enough, or you might have a bit of social media. You've really got to go to the people, even if it's one or two of your members jumping in the car or walking the streets. You've got to be on first name basis with people who run and own businesses locally, your emergency services, police, fire, real estate, all your community businesses, and just basically say, we believe we've got something that can offer you, and that's a game of barefoot bowls, a really good fun environment for you or staff or so on, and just say, listen, our doors are open to you whenever you want to come down. So go to them, tell them what you've got to offer, and then just hope that they do decide to come down.
And then as part of that as well, I mean, we talk about mindset. Just about everyone's on board with this now, but do you have to almost have the mindset that having people through your door, that not every single one of them is going to be a pennant player for you every Saturday, that a social membership is fine?
Yes, for sure, because the thing is, it's like anything. You've got to try before you buy, and Barefoot Bowls is that experience of trying the game. You think, wait a minute, and then you go, I wouldn't mind getting a little bit more serious about this down the track, and then you might look to take it up. And, it may be any particular thing in any walk of life that you try something, you go, well, I really like the look of this, and I wouldn't mind coming back. So Barefoot Bowls ticks all those boxes. They've got to start somewhere. They're not going to walk in the door and go straight into pennant or straight into competition. And that soft entry is really important, and it's how the members are trained to do that as well, on making sure it's a really fun environment, in which most clubs are, and the facilities, really appeal to local people to come down and give it a go as well. Hopefully
some good advice for those listening around Australia. If you're not involved from a social aspect, or your club's not, there's a couple of good steps to get involved. Now, from an Australian point of view, normally we dedicate a bit of time on this show to talking about what the Jackaroos are up to, and obviously upcoming events. This year's not the case, and we already know that the calendar has nothing in it for 2020. We're going to lock and load and basically look forward to the Bowls Premier League at the start of next year. How do you go about it as an Australian athlete, knowing that it's still a bit of a gap now between your next formal competition?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing is not the unknowns. But you can only I guess, hope that it all goes to plan. So, yeah, there's unknowns, but if you're preparing as much as you can each day, week in, week out, I suppose adhering to as much as you can from an on-green, off-green performance, that's what you want to be doing. I hear other athletes quite regularly say, I don't want to be peaking right now. There's no point. I don't have a major for 6 months, but I'll work my way up to it. And that might work for them, might not work for others. So I think, you've got to find different strategies to make sure you stay up. And then you've still got to get then your time away as well, your quality time. So I think for me, it's probably writing my goals down, whether it be every 3 months, 6 months, or 1 or 2 years, and then just making sure everything around that competition is in line leading up to it.
The Jackaroos are so close. I'd imagine it's challenging trying to keep that closeness and that relationship going when you're basically trying to do it by a WhatsApp group at the moment. Yeah,
we've got pretty much all the social media streams covered. We've got a few chat groups as well as our regular Zoom meetings, and we've had different themes every time. We've had different, each person's got their job in running the show. We've had some really high-profile athletes, worldwide athletes, come on our shows. And Louise Savage, a few months ago, to have her join us for a Zoom meeting with the Jackaroos was phenomenal. What an amazing athlete she's been for so long. And so we've worked on bit of motivational stuff and a little bit of inspiration, but I think collectively, if we're working together and being in regular contact, we can continue to motivate one another from that close-knit point of view.
It sets it up for a massive year next year, doesn't it? When you think about what's up for grabs, and I'm just looking from a commentary point of view, and that's only half of the events, it could be an enormous year for you and the Jackaroos.
Yeah, and concentrating on what you hope you will be playing in and concentrating on what the year should look like. You're a kid in a candy store, really. You just can't wait to be around the teams again, the players, and I haven't seen my coach Steve Glaxton for a long time. I haven't seen him this long in a lot of years, and that's that's an important part from an athlete's point of view. Very lucky to have regular phone calls and speak to the high performance staff regularly with our weekly check-ins and that. But I miss all my coaching staff, all the regular players that I can't see. So it's important we stay connected. But hopefully the year can go ahead as near as possible to what we want it to be, and get out there and put into practice all the hours we've been putting in and preparing for. So, it's just a huge calendar and very exciting.
And I suppose for the internationals, we saw in the lead up to the Commonwealth Games in 2018, Baz, that they were all coming over, all very early, trying to play in a number of different events at Broadbeach in the lead up. We don't know what it looks like for May and June of next year, but I suppose in an advantage for the Jackaroos, they may not have that same opportunity, or it might be a limited opportunity.
Yeah, very correct. Yeah, it's hard for everyone, and the more we can probably try and capitalise on that, the better. And only looking at 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, we were set to go over there a few months ago and get used to their conditions and greens, etc., and acclimatise and that, and we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So that will be something that we're looking at, and looking at a plan B to get around that heading into those conditions. So, yeah, you've got to make the most of any home ground advantage you get, whether it's at your club or state or international, and as soon as we can and when we can, we'll be trying to do that.
What's happening in Queensland at the moment? For those in Victoria, they'll be aware that restrictions changed last Sunday and that some non-contact sport with extremely tight protocols can begin soon. How's it been in Queensland?
Well, things like putting all your jacks that you would normally pick up with your hand and pass it around and stuff like that. Our jacks aren't to be used by anyone outside the rink. We put them into a milk crate that then gets dipped into a bucket of sanitizer. And so then our jacks are sanitised. The same with our mats. We give them a spray. So from a COVID point of view, we're trying to do all we can with our equipment, etc., and to continue to educate all our members and visitors that is imperative that we keep doing that, just for general health and well-being as well. So that's as we say, the new normal. But in terms of events, it's been a really hectic schedule the last 6 weeks with state championships, and like we said, the trip up to Cairns, north versus south, That was a great event. And we've got some big tournaments coming up. So we're hosting a big tournament this weekend here at Burleigh. Big prize money, 2 full greens, and a really big triples event over a couple of days with Ryan Bester and other big names coming down to play. So, but once again, as soon as they arrive, they will see our COVID plan, our COVID safety plan. As soon as they arrive, it's on display, and we remind people of what they can and can't do, and everyone cooperates, and we go out and play.
Baz, as always, great to catch up. We'll do it again next week. A bit to talk about. There's going to be different topics for us to work through each and every week, obviously, but as it gets closer and closer to the end of the year, that means we get closer and closer to more events happening for 2021, which is very exciting. So stay safe, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks very much, Jack.
Barrie Lester joining us on Without Bias. It's all thanks to Apia. We're all about possibilities, dedicated specialists who are there and ready to help. Call 13 50 50. Apia, get, set, go. We're going to talk local bowls next with James Wilson from Bowls South Australia. Welcome back to Without Bias. Fantastic to have you with us. It is with thanks to the Bowl Show, where you stay engaged with the sport Sundays on 7-2 from 2:30pm. And for Apia, we are all about possibilities. Call 13 50 50. If you like what you're hearing tonight, jump online, check out the Bowls Australia website. There's a club finder there. You can click, you can put in your postcode, and before you know it, you'll be finding a club just around the corner from you. And clubs are the lifeblood of the community, but clubs need the support of people at a higher level to make things a reality. And our participation and programs managers at Bowls Australia do an outstanding job. And today, our local legend is James Wilson, and this is all thanks to Bowls Australia. Local legends wanted just up the road from you as a green. Search Bowls clubs near me. I love talking to people in these roles and to talk about what they're doing to help clubs and to build participation. James, thanks for your time. Good evening.
Good evening, Jack. Thanks for having us, mate.
Mate, you've been in the role since 2019. September, I reckon it was 2019, if I'm right. So just over a year. How have you found it?
Yeah, correct, mate. Love the role. It's so varied. No 2 days are ever the same. So I'm actually gobsmacked that it's already been 14 months or so. It's just gone so quick.
The obvious thing to start with is COVID and how this year's been, because it's been a year like no other. And I think about so many local sports clubs, and in this particular instance, we're talking about bowls clubs. There's no roadmap, is there? It's the way out and how to generate income and how to generate members and get participation happening again. It's a hard one.
Yeah, you're right, mate. There's no silver bullet. There's never going to be a one-size-fits-all approach at all. We've been very lucky here in South Australia. I mean, our clubs have been reopened since sort of the best part of June onwards. So our clubs have done well, but there has been that decrease in trading and very tough restrictions to handle. And it's just about supporting our clubs to adopt best practice and to make the best of the situation. And a lot of our clubs have gone virtual and have actually found other ways to generate income through this time. So you are right, but what's working at one club isn't always going to work at the club down the road. So we've always got to be on our feet.
Have you seen an increase or a decrease, or what have participation numbers been like since things have returned?
It's been pretty steady, to be fair. I thought that we might get a little bit of a drop-off, but it's actually been quite positive. And a lot of, the older bowlers that we do have in our clubs often would go to Queensland or the Northern Territory or somewhere warmer during the winter and haven't been able to. So they have been participating a lot more at club level through that period. But then conversely, we've actually seen quite a significant increase in participation of social programs. And a lot of people just wanting to get out in the community. They're starting to see the value of supporting their local towns or travelling within their own state and playing bowls, as well as those that potentially didn't get to play their football or netball or soccer season, wanting to use their bowls to fuel those competitive juices over the summer. And
it's the sort of sport that's pretty cost effective. It's very easy to play. There's not an enormous amount of rules. It's an easy one to pick up, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone can play together. So your whole family or whoever you are, you can play at the same time. So it's really inclusive as well.
James Wilson joining us. He looks after the participation and programs in the South Australia region for Bowls Australia in conjunction with Bowls South Australia. Talk to us about Jack Attack. It's been described as barefoot bowls, but better. It's very much a model of the Bowls Premier League that we see on TV. Again, talking about how easy this sport is to pick up. Do you find that this is the quickest way home to get people interested, is to get them involved in Jack Attack?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So Jack Attack probably for me, exist in a marketplace where the game only goes for an hour. So it's quite a big part of the, the pathway of getting people into the game of bowls. And often a lot of the barriers are the time that bowls does take to play. So for us to appeal to those people who are busy and have it over and done within an hour, and especially families, because we can have our clubs running events that are over and done within an hour and a half, and the kids are home in time to go to bed for school the next day. So it's actually a great place to start your bowls journey before you start taking it a bit more seriously.
And you've got some clubs, I think Christie's Beach is one of them, where they're sold out basically, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. They've only got room for 14 teams, and they've managed to get 14 teams. So they're home and hosed, and it's their first time running Jack Attack, and they haven't had a night program for some years. And most clubs in South Australia do run a pretty successful night out, and Christie's Beach hasn't been so fortunate in that space of late. But they've hit the ground running, and they've got some great teams and great communities, and they've already actually signed up a number of members to come and play socially at their club, and it's been a godsend for their club.
It's a fantastic national program, Jack Attack, and then the extension to that, obviously, James, is Junior Jack Attack, where you are targeting the younger generation. How is that being implemented and enjoyed in South Australia?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the bowls pathway is there for anyone at any age, so we start as young as actually this week I'm doing a session for some kindergarten children up in the hills. So they're 4 years old, so the little tackers will have a good time with our phone-based equipment. So it's all safe and light and enables them to get involved in the sport. For us, I run a bit of a model of I'd rather show than tell. So for me, I go out to the schools and instead of saying, hey, Mr. PE teacher, can I chat to you for half an hour? I'll say, hey, get me a couple of classes for an hour and let's run some clinics and let the kids play, and you can see how our program works. And we've actually had an increase in 2020. So in 2019, we had 13 schools take on the Jack Attack or Junior Jack Attack program over 4 weeks. Whereas in 2020, even with COVID, we've actually seen 32 schools go through the 4-week program so far. So we're obviously really excited about that increase. And I guess for me and for our clubs here in South Australia and across the country, it's not about getting your next pennant bowler or your next state bowler at 6, 7, 8 years old, but those students and those kids are active members of their families still and are dependent on the parents to get around. So it's actually a way to attract parents in that 30 to 40 or even early 50 age bracket or even new grandparents into clubs who may actually become a member of your club and engage with your club moving forward.
Hey, before I let you go, tell us about the South Australian Super League. This sounds very, very exciting and a great state-based initiative.
Yeah, it's basically the echelon. It's the elite competition here in South Australia, and teams are filled based on regions and based on a draft. After those regional spots are taken up, so we have 8 franchises. And we play an 8-round season throughout sort of October, November, and then into mid-December. So currently we're 4 rounds in. The Northern Knights are leading in the A-grade comp and have after finishing bottom last year. So a bit of a switch around for them, and it's a great opportunity where we play a singles, a pairs, and a triples league in a fast format with super ends, and it's very similar to the concept of the Bowls Premier League. And there's a league comp, as a reserves comp, and under 21s competition. So it's great to see, every week at least 16 people under 21 playing bowls week in, week out, and it's generally held at Salisbury, but of late we've been heading on the road to try and take it out to some of the suburbs.
I love it. It's a fantastic concept, that, and one that I reckon might catch on around Australia. James, thanks for your time, and the work that you're doing in the South Australian community is awesome. So keep it up, and we appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thanks, Joe.
James Wilson joining us, the Bowls Australia Participation and Programs Manager for the South Australian region there. Just a bit of a snapshot of how busy the role is, how all-inclusive the role is, but how important the role is as well. James is our local legend, and you can be a local legend because local legends are wanted. The Bowls Green is just up the road for you. Search Bowls Clubs near me. Massive thanks to James and a massive thanks to Barrie Lester. Don't forget this, and every edition of Without Bias is up on the podcast for you. Go back and listen to the ones that you missed. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.